Hello and welcome to Defence Line, a weekly program on defence, security and more. In this episode of Defence Line, we discuss cases of alleged corruption involving senior military officers which are hitting media headlines. Is the canker of corruption on the rise in the defence services, or is it that cases of wrongdoing which remained under the carpet are now coming into the public domain? Are our defence services getting afflicted by the malaise from their civilian brethren? This is what we discuss in Defence Line today. To discuss this contentious issue, we have Major Navdeep Singh, an advocate specializing in military law, Major General retired Rajendra Nath, former Commandant of the Indian Military Academy, and Lieutenant General retired S.S. Garewal, former Adjutant General of the Indian Army. Welcome to the discussion, gentlemen.
Thank you.
But before that, let's look at this report.
On December 3, 2011, an army court found former military secretary Lieutenant General Avdesh Prakash guilty on 3 counts in the 2008 Sukna land scam case. General Prakash is the senior-most Indian Army officer ever to face a court-martial. In January this year, another senior officer, Lieutenant General P.K. Rath, was court-martialed in the same case. Both the officers were indicted by a court of inquiry last year. These two have added to the list of those officers who have brought shame to the country and the army in particular. In March 2011, a court of inquiry indicted ex-army chiefs General Deepak Kapoor and General N.C. Vij for their role in the Adarsh housing scam. A month earlier, in February, Lieutenant General S.K. Sahni was awarded 3-year rigorous imprisonment in ration scam. One Major General A.K. Lal was dismissed after having been found guilty of molesting a junior woman officer. In 2009, 2 Major Generals, Anand Swaroop and S.P. Sinha, faced separate charges of irregularities in the purchase of stores. In 2007, the CBI booked Major General Anand Kapoor in a sex case. Gurigbal Singh Multani, a Major General, was found guilty of attempting to smuggle defence liquor to his hometown. He was dismissed for the misconduct.
We are in conversation with Major Navdeep Singh, Major General Rajendra Nath and Lieutenant General S.S. Garewal. Major Navdeep, I'll start with you. How do you look at the dismissal of Lieutenant General Avdesh Prakash, the former military secretary?
I'm yet to see the court verdict, but he has been convicted, so it would all depend upon the evidence on record. But just to say that he's a general and he has been pointed out, I think would not be correct, because the same yardstick as an accused is to be used whether a person is a sepoy or a general. It would all depend what...
But Major Navdeep, is the action against such a high-ranking officer really justified? The decision, of course, is subject to ratification by the convening authorities.
Of course, it would not depend whether he is a high-ranking officer or a low-ranking sepoy. It all depends upon the evidence which came on record. I would feel that it should just not matter in any system of the world whether a person is high-ranking or low-ranking.
But this is the first time such a high-ranking officer has been given this kind of a sentence?
Yes, it's the first time, and the army, of course, is not a different ballgame altogether than the civilian setup, as we all tend to believe.
Well,
Major, yes,
should I butt in here to say that the case was a very simple case in which a land which is outside the cantonment, an NOC has been given to construct a school building within the limits which are supposed to be free of any construction next to the cantonment, on the plea that the school will benefit the cantonment. So when you look at technicalities of the case, obviously either the 2 gentlemen were not aware that they should give the NOC, or they felt that this is no serious lapse on their part if it is benefiting the cantonment children. That's how it started. And so personally speaking, when we say, well, this these 2 people have been given punishment, I personally feel it's very harsh decision for a man to be given such a punishment at the end of the career.
So you feel the decision is too harsh?
I feel the decision is too harsh.
I'll just come back to you. Major Nath, do you also feel that the decision is too harsh? In fact, he will not be able to avail even the medical facilities and even the Provident Fund?
I think whenever a system goes beyond a limit, you must have the whole system viewed as what applies to civilians, what applies to military men. We tend to be in the military extraordinarily strict for the same crime.
But then, General Nath, there is a reason for that, and you have a separate military law.
Yes, but point is, the law must be interpreted. Law is an as. Somebody has to make use of the law in a thoughtful manner. If you are going to be extraordinarily strict using that law, just because some senior...
So has the army been extraordinarily strict in this case?
I think personally, if I give advice to somebody, for wrong advice maybe, for that you are dismissed, you will lose all privileges whatsoever. Respect is gone, privileges are gone, and you may have or you may not have given that wrong advice. You may have suggested to him, it is worthwhile considering it.
Let us compare this case.
Yes.
Let us compare this case with Pune cantonment or any other cantonment where a lot of land has been allocated to civilians by various politicians, and they have come within the cantonment. This is outside the cantonment. This has got nothing to do within the cantonment, and no action has been taken. So many cases, there are some 50 cases in Pune having been chief of staff.
But General Grewal, I think there is a background to this case. Earlier the NOC had been refused, and here the whole chain of command, starting from the people low down to the corps commander, and then there is an influence of the military secretary by a senior officer to reverse the decision on the NOC.
So you see, this is an interpretation by these two gentlemen.
Right.
The previous gentleman felt that it is not to be given because it is within the limit of that boundary where no construction should come up. Very rightly so. Here their interpretation is that since it is facilitating education, so therefore let us give the thing. What is the problem? So it's an interpretation of one's thought.
Right. Let me go back to Major Navdeep again. As a lawyer, what is your opinion? Do you also feel the decision is too harsh?
I
think you skirted the question last time.
I would again say that till the time I see the verdict and the evidence on record, I won't be able to comment. But I agree with General Grewal that the problem is with the noting sheet culture. There is no application of mind. A noting sheet moves up from down below, goes up to the top, and it is ratified by everyone in the chain of command, which is different in the civil setup, because in civil setup you see that there is dissent on the noting sheet and opinions are overruled, recommendations are overruled. But in the military setup, the entire noting sheet can be changed to bring it in line with the thought process of one particular man.
But Navdeep, in this case, there must have been there was a court of inquiry. There must have been summary of evidence, and then the general court martial went into the details. They examined the witnesses.
Absolutely.
And after that they came to a decision to dismiss him. In fact, he has been held guilty on 3 counts. One under Section 45 of the Army Act of misusing his position. Second under Section 52,
F.
intent to defraud.
52F, yes.
So apparently the intent has been established.
The intent has been established, but of course not the actual fraud that may have, because no fraud took place ultimately. Under 52F, 7 years.
But that's the saving grace, that no fraud took place. So the intent was there.
Intent was there, and per se 52F prescribes 7 years of RI, and Section 45, that is conduct unbecoming, it prescribes dismissal from service. So in that sense, if you say that he has been convicted under 45 and 52F and the punishment is harsh, no, it is not, because it is well within the 4 corners of what is prescribed in the law. But per se whether the conviction was correct cannot be said.
General Nath, Major Navdeep has made a very valid point, that in this case there was no financial corruption. In fact, General Avdesh Prakash has been exonerated on this specific charge. So do you also agree that since no financial irregularity has been established, I think he should have got the benefit of doubt?
I personally feel that in this case there has been a tendency among some senior officers to prove to Ministry of Defence or other senior people in the country that we in the army set a very high standard and we must teach lesson.
Yes.
This sort of thing becomes unbalanced when you become very harsh. You must be reasonably correct in whatever you do. In this case here, nothing by way of fraud has taken place. If the intent was there, that is a matter of interpretation to a great extent.
Setting an example is not correct at all in any organization.
I personally feel, sir, at this level, when we are mature people at that level, we should try and not bring personalities in a case. I personally feel here is a case where personalities have come in, where personal thought or personal aim to fix a man has come in, And that is why such a harsh punishment has come in these two cases.
General Grewal, are you suggesting that extraneous pressures may have come on the GCM?
No, I am not suggesting GCM has gone by the evidence which has been produced, because no GCM can bring his own evidence. The summary evidence has brought out these facts, which are correct.
But you mentioned about personal differences and
personal differences. What I mean,
the talk here has been that the general under question was actually did not see eye to eye with some other senior officers.
Okay. Now my point here is that when you are recording the summary evidence, if you want to fix a man, then you bring in the questions as per the evidence available in the court of inquiry, and you make it look very harsh, as if the man really had an intent. If he had the intent, he would have got 7 years RI. Obviously, they are not able to prove that. That's why they only dismissed him. So
also, perhaps he only possibly influenced the decision. The decision was that of the corps commander.
Yeah, that's
so. You can't equate both the corps commander and somebody who influenced the decision on the same level.
I agree.
I personally feel that somebody higher than both these gentlemen was interested in telling the public and the politicians that we in the army can be extraordinarily straight, strict, whatever it is. I think he was carried away by his own rhetoric. One should be little more dispassionate and give the punishment which he deserves. I am not saying don't give the punishment, but don't overdo it. This is the case overdo.
General Nath, till a few years ago, such cases did not hit media headlines. In fact, officers who were accused of any wrongdoing, a lot of them, particularly senior officers, were asked to go home quietly. Would you prefer that system or the present system where such trials are in the public domain?
I think the present system has some advantages, but some major disadvantages. Advantages are that we stand out as the army, which can do things promptly, in a straightforward manner, quickly, and show to the world that we are special. I think we overdo at times. If a same example can be set without hurting the organization as a whole, organization is much more important than individual. We are trying to equate the individual with the organization. I think we go wrong there.
General Grewal, what is your opinion? Do you prefer such high-profile trials which often end up as media trials, or you want a quiet exit?
Sir, both have their advantages. The quiet exit was that it was not a serious crime. He has committed a crime, but was not serious at that level. And you do not want to indicate to the entire command, like he's been MS, the other man is a corps commander, that he has committed a serious lapse. Technically, it's not a very serious lapse. He is given an NOC in whatever best interest he wanted to do. By giving a quiet exit, you are allowing the chain of command not to get affected, the image not to get affected, the morale not to get affected. So, if you allow this man to go away and acknowledge that yes, I made this mistake, I probably didn't know. Most of the people acknowledge that they made a mistake.
But earlier also cases of very serious impropriety. Some of the senior officers who were involved were quietly asked to go home. I remember a corps commander who was accused of stealing his brother officer's wife's affection was, I believe, asked to go home without a trial.
Technically, what you are saying is not justified, but the image, to maintain the image and morale, at times you take this decision. You allow that man to go. Okay, thank you very much, please go. But where you think that the morale is not getting affected and certain amount of lesson has to be taught, then you carry on with the GCM like this happened. So one has to look at the position of these officers and look at the case. The case is not too big compared to the other cases when you in comparison, but it's come up at the wrong time, since 2-3 cases came together and got highlighted.
Right.